Oh, okay. No, flash.
No, I think we're on video camera here.
Okay.
Yeah, you are. Okay, Mom, Danica, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
You guys have
Not yet, not yet.
To be.
This is going to be my wife. We're kind of goofy now, aren't we?
Danica was my soulmate. And it's really hard to say that because she's not here.
She was very kind. It's kind of hard to describe her now because of how long it's been. The last time I talked to her was in 3rd grade, so it's been at least 9 years.
She was phenomenally in love with our kids, and so just loving and caring, and would do anything to help anyone. That's what I remember about Danica. So we were both off on that day. It was a Monday. She wasn't feeling well, and I'm sitting at the table, and she stumbles. She had me take a picture of her face so that she could see what her face looked like, and I immediately see that things weren't right. So we got to the hospital, and I'm sitting there waiting in the waiting room, and when I got to her, she was, responding, and she was talking to the kids. At one point, she was going for a test to be done, a diagnostic test. And the last words that I got from her was, "I love you forever." And that's the last words I got to hear from her, which is a blessing, but also it really stinks because I never got affirmation that she understood that I loved her as much as she loved me.
I am trying to stay in Girl Scouts to make a difference, like she wanted. I don't think I've changed much, but I think I've changed a lot at the same time. I wish she was here to see my accomplishments and all that.
So on day 4 of being in the hospital, we finally get the diagnosis that she had had a stroke and that she was locked in. We spent the next 7 months in a long-term acute care. She was on a respirator, she was on a feeding tube. At the 7-month mark, she had not progressed at all. She gave up, and we had to let go. When we went to the second hospital and got our second opinion, the neurologist said to me that if we had gone to them on day 1, she would be sitting here talking to us today. With the situation at hand, I knew that I needed to seek legal representation.
I first met Alan on the west coast of Florida. We had a very long meeting, and he walked me through everything that had happened with his wife. In our initial consultation, I saw a man who had clearly had his soulmate taken from him in one of the worst possible ways, in a preventable way. The thing that stood out to me the most with this case is that everywhere you looked in that chart, stroke should have been the number one thing that folks were thinking about. But it took 4 days before the proper testing was done to diagnose the stroke. And because of that, by the time her stroke was diagnosed and she was taken to an interventionalist who could have gone in and to remove that blood clot, it was too late. The key moments in this case, I think, really started to come together once we got into the expert depositions phase, because up until that point, the other side kept telling us that we wouldn't be able to prove that earlier diagnosis and treatment would have made a meaningful difference. And through our expert testimony and through our questioning of their experts, we were able to put together a story that established that earlier treatment, more likely than not, would have meant Danica would have walked out of that hospital instead of spending the next 7 months of her life only able to blink her eyes.
So the results of the case have solidified my kids' ability to accomplish their dreams. The one thing that I know that their mom wanted them to do was to be able to chase their dreams. And with the situation as it is, they can do that. There's nothing limiting them from chasing their dreams, whatever it might be, because of the results of the case and the settlement.
I appreciate how RDCY protected us from being involved in the case as children. There was a scary time where we thought we were actually going to need to go in and I was going to have to give like a testimony. RDCY really cared about our case and our situation.
I hope that accountability, when we talk about a case like Danica's, comes in the form of systemic change. I hope that healthcare providers, hospitals really refine their training practices and enforce their policies on stroke and what needs to be done, on what sort of imaging you're supposed to get, how long it's supposed to take, and that they take these things more seriously. I hope that resolution of Danica's case helps to bring just a little bit of closure to Alan and the kids. There's no amount of money, there's nothing that any lawsuit can do to bring Danica back, but I can give them the opportunity to have a life that is full of choices and opportunities.
I want people to remember Danica the way she was. The beautiful, vivacious ball of energy with a smile that can light up the room, person that would take care of and be your best friend. Nicole was a godsend to us in the whole situation. She was very open to taking my phone calls, my text messages, putting my mind at ease when I had questions. I firmly believe the firm went above and beyond to help my family. RDCY was invaluable